Hey everybody, we're here in Naselle, Washington at the FinnFest 2022. This is the 40th anniversary of this festival, and it's here to commemorate the Finnish people and the people of Finland and the Pacific Northwest. I can hear some music already playing inside, and I can smell some food. So let's go inside and see what we've got. All right, we found our way into the exhibitors booths here in the gymnasium. Now, as you can see, there are quite a number of exhibitors posted up through here, so we're gonna take a look around and see what we can get into. Hi, I'm Mark.
Hi, Mark. I'm Jan, as if you didn't know.
I had plenty of questions. I was like, it says Jan, but I'm going to get up here and I'm going to somehow pronounce her name wrong. And it's going to be some weird Finnish name that I'm not familiar with, and then I'm going to come out here and I'm going to be like, we have to do this over again.
Well, at least you're not saying that it's Irish, because the Bono that was on the U2, the band.
Yeah.
He created his own name, and he should have put an extra N in it because he pronounces it Bono.
Yes.
I am Bono. It's oh no, it's Bono.
I gotcha, like pro bono.
Like Sonny and Cher. And
Okay,
pro bono.
I got you.
Yeah.
All right. So I see a ton of books here.
17.
17. All right. We have a specific number, and
I've
all
been
written by you.
retired from teaching for 16 years, and I've written 17 books.
Okay. And where do you get your inspiration from?
Where don't I get inspiration?
Good answer. It's a great answer.
It's everywhere.
So
last night I was on a Zoom meeting with the Timberland Library group that meets once a month, and someone was talking about a woman who had tracked her down after she'd read a poem of hers in the paper. And I said, at what point did you realize she was a serial murderer? And everybody said, oh, we knew you were going to say that, because those kind of things trigger in my head.
Sure.
This book, Is There Room in the Backyard for One More Body, has 12 short stories in it. 12 ways I wanted to get rid of a guy that kind of annoyed me. So I murdered him. You can do anything in your mind that you can't do in real life.
Which one of these is your favorite that you've written so far?
Ask me to choose which child I like best.
Yes.
Yeah, well, I love the Cozy Mystery series because the same 5 characters that start in the beginning are still there at the end, 6 books later, and they talk to me in my head and they created me. And in that series, I created a geriatric belly dancing troupe. And yeah, you can kind of think about that. But I thought they were going to just be in one book. But they showed up in the second book and they wanted to try online dating. And they're ages 68 to 90. And so it appeals to me. I love that book. But I also love the Backyard Bodies. But my newest one came out last week, Pen Pals, and takes place in the 90s, and it's a woman who's looking for love in the personal ads in the newspaper. This is way before dating apps. And she connects with somebody who's in the penitentiary. And so how does that affect your relationships? Does she fall in love with him? How that kind of plays out in it. That was the most challenging thing I've written, because the cozies are written first person. So I'm speaking, like I'm the main character. But in the last 2 books I've worked on, it's been third person, taking yourself one step back, and how much do you know that's going on in their minds, and how much do you have to show, like you would see on a movie? It's a different challenge. So,
now, do the books have similar themes throughout each of them, or that you kind of?
I started with, Through My Looking Glass was my newspaper column in the 90s in the Chinook Observer newspaper in Long Beach. And I won 11 state awards from the Washington Newspaper Publishers Association in 10 years.
Okay.
And after that happened, people said to me, you should be putting these in books. A woman from Kaleidoscope Press up in Puyallup, I sent them to her, and she said, we'd love to do a 4-book series. But after she did the first book, and when I'd already started on the second book, they went bankrupt. And it was the Pacific Pipeline, the book distribution center, which actually went bankrupt, and it took 28 small publishers with them, Washington, Oregon, and Idaho. She was one of them. So she moved to Thailand, became a missionary. But she wrote me emails, and she said, here's how you can do it yourself. So I am in control of, like this says, local author, editor, publisher, page layout, cover design. It's all mine. And I have so much control over it. I even take the selfies for the back of each book. Each book has another selfie because my face changes a little, or my hair color definitely. And so I wrote for Woman's World magazine. It took me 42 tries to get in the little checkout stand magazine. And so I put them all together they put nice little notes about how close I was. So that was fun. Friends and family at the holidays? Oh, sure. Never get invited back to your friends and family if you write a book like that. Back from Obesity is the story of my 252-pound weight loss, of which I've gained 50 back with the pandemic. And then I got into writing some poetry, and then the Sylvia Avery Mystery Series, 6 books that I swear they wrote themselves. I always write with a synopsis first, and then when I sat down to write, it just like every morning I couldn't wait to get to the computer. It was just so much fun. And then people were calling me and saying, when does the next book come out? When does the next book? And that's very inspirational. And then the last 2 have been, is this the end of my print writing, or am I just going to do some screenwriting and go back to print? I don't know yet.
But how long have you been writing? Or was this just something that just kind of happened one day and then it just kind of kept going from there?
You know the stories about silver linings?
Yes.
Every time something bad happens, there's always something good that's going to come out of it. In December of 1991, I tore my Achilles tendon. I was not able to go to work at school for 10 weeks because it wasn't totally handicapped accessible and I was in a wheelchair. So I started writing little things to send to the newspaper, but we didn't have email yet. So it was going on a disc from one place to the other. And that's what started my newspaper column. And then out of that, everything just kind of snowballed. It's like I started with this, and then one day I woke up and I'm like this. And it's so much fun. One of the best parts of the job, it's not a job, but don't tell the IRS because I want to deduct some things.
We're going to cut the audio on that, right?
They always, they frown on hobbies, and it's not a hobby, it's a passion. And it's a time when I get to, expand my creativity, write fun stories. I love to entertain. My Facebook page is all full of stories that I'm just entertaining people by, tell them what happened today. I've written for Chicken Soup for the Soul for 12 years. I have had 56 acceptances, and that means I'm in their top 5 contributors in the world. So here I live in little old, Long Beach, Washington. There are 14 Long Beaches in the United States, by the way. So I live
know of 2.
I live in there's one in Indiana. Figure that one out. And Mississippi. Mississippi I can figure out, but I think Indiana must be on a Great Lake. So when I was writing for Chicken Soup for the Soul, 56 times, and I kept writing to him saying, like, am I number 1 yet? Because I'm I'm a lot competitive. If you're going to do something, be the best.
Sure.
So I try for this, I try for that. And they write me back and they say, this is great. Well, one time she wrote me, the editor, and she said, in the next book, and they put out 8 to 12 a year, they said, we have 4 people from the Long Beach Peninsula. What's going on down there? And I said, I just taught a class on how to write for Chicken Soup. They get 2,000, give or take, 1,500 to 2,500 stories for each book. The books are 101 stories. And so it's like a 1 in 20 kind of thing. Although I always say, no, it's 1 in 2,500. And I'm just really blessed that I've been in 56.
That's awesome.
It's amazing. And it was another thing I wanted to accomplish. I want to get in Chicken Soup books. I wanted this, and so now I'm hoping to write a Hallmark Christmas movie, so we'll see how that turns out.
Well, if you write one, let me know. I do have some contacts at Hallmark, so...
Oh, really?
It's very possible, yes. So where can people get a hold of your books other than being here? I'm sorry?
In my trunk. Actually, my website is right up here, janbonobooks.com. It's being overhauled today. I don't know if it's up yet, but because we're adding the last 2 books.
Awesome.
And so janbonobooks.com. It's kind of like that Jeff Dunham thing where Peanut goes .com. Jan Bono Books, and the books get mailed out within a day or 2. And usually I can be, if you're on the peninsula or any place close, I'm in the phone. Just call, leave a message, I'll get back to you. We'll arrange to meet someplace, save you a little shipping, and I get to meet the people who are reading. I'll show you one of my favorite things. I don't know if you can get this on a camera or not, but this woman came up to me today and she says, I'm a fan. She'd read a book borrowed from somebody, and she bought a whole set of the mysteries, and she said, can I put you on my Facebook page? And so she took this one-time selfie, and it turned out perfectly. I don't look that good in pictures normally. I have to take like 50 shots to get my own selfie. And I was so thrilled because it was like the Sally Field thing when she got the Academy Award. They like me, they really like me. I'm going like, hey, somebody really likes my writing. And that's why I'm doing it, you know. It's entertaining and it's fun and I totally enjoy it.
Well, that's awesome. And I've enjoyed speaking to you, and I thank you very much for your time.
I know I'm doing a lot of self-promotion, but this is what I do. I do the books, I do the craft fairs, I do the bazaars. I will be doing 2 bazaars on the peninsula, one at the Senior Center and one over at the Peninsula Church Center. One in October, one in November. And then I'll be in Longview and Elma and Ocean Shores, and you know, because I like to get out and meet people and expand my horizons.
Yeah.
It's fun.
It gives you more inspiration to write future things.
Inspiration is everywhere.
Well, we saw a lot of great vendors here at the FinnFest 2022. A lot of these vendors you can find online, so if you need to, rewind, find them online, and I'll see you next time.